Now we're finally getting to do a test we've really been looking forward to. This is a new broadhead from Wasp Archery, the drone. And if you followed us very long, you know we're big fans of Wasp. We use their heads, and the reason being is this 3-pack of heads costs 30 bucks, and it comes with 2 sets of replacement blades. So they are probably the most affordable broadhead on the market that is still good quality. We've had super good results in all of our previous tests. We have no idea how these are going to test, but they are a shorter, more compact design, so they're really quiet when they fly through the air. They should have really good flight characteristics because of that shorter design. We're going to be using 1.1/8" cutting diameter, 100 grain, 3-blade for the test, and we're really going to put them through the paces, see how they do. I'm going to jump behind the camera. I'm going to let Tyler shoot the heads, and we'll see what happens. Alright, first test we're going to do, I'm going to shoot a field point, and then we're going to shoot an arrow with the drone broadhead on it and see what the difference in point of impact is, if any. Alright, well, it appears that I severed half of the leaf that was marking the spot where I hit with my field point, so I don't think we really need to do a second shot. I can claim that those will hit in the same spot as your field points. No surprise. You know, we've shot the Wasp Boss in the past and had the same results. These are even a shorter, more compact design, and hit right where I was aiming without changing anything with my sights. And like Tony said in the intro, there with that shorter design, these are super quiet flying through the air. So really impressed so far. We're going to move on to the fun stuff now and start putting them through the torture test. Now for the plywood test. We've got 3 layers of 3/8 inch plywood down there. Going to see how well these drones penetrate. We've got full penetration of all 3 pieces of this plywood. Blew right through the first 2, and on the back side of this last piece, just the insert there, all I can see. So the whole broadhead is either inside this piece of plywood or sticking out, and we do have blades sticking out. Probably the best we've had on previous tests with other heads. We've had the tip stick through, but we've never actually got a broadhead to get the blades, and they're probably about halfway through this last piece. So that nice compact design really makes for good penetration, and in classic Wasp style, that tip just leads the way and rips a hole through them. So we'll get it out of here so you can see how well it held up. I can tell you already that tip is still just super sharp, but I'll try to get it out of here so we can examine it and see how well the blades fared. Alright, we managed to get that Wasp Drone out of that final piece of plywood. Still in really good shape. Tip's super sharp, blades are still really sharp. There's really no rolling to speak of at all in these blades. Like I said, they're still extremely sharp. Probably sharper than some broadheads brand new out of the package. I'm not saying you should shoot your broadheads through 3 pieces of plywood and deer hunt with them, but I have no doubt you could kill a deer with this broadhead. So far, really impressed. They've held up to those 3 layers of plywood. Just about better than anything we've seen, and penetration wise, nothing's been better. So move on, time to shoot the tire. Well, made it through the first layer, and that whole tip is sticking out the back layer of this tire. steel belted tire, same tire we use for all of our tests. And honestly, the only other broadhead we've had do this has been another Wasp. And going into this one, I would have been a little bit disappointed if we didn't have this result, because I know these Wasp heads and that tip they've got on them are capable of doing it. Well, that's really impressive. You know, this thing's held up really well. A little bit of rolling, quite a bit of rolling on the blades, but that's to be expected. Other than that, blades are straight, ferrule straight, everything's, you know, really built well on this head. You can tell from this kind of test. You know, and what this test comes down to most of all is testing penetration. And you know, we've had other blades or other heads that have, you know, they don't even penetrate the first layer of the tire. We've had other fixed blades that will go through the first layer of rubber. They don't even make it halfway through the actual tire, you know, let alone reach the back. This one stuck all the way through, you know, had that tip sticking out. So when you start comparing, you know, looking at other heads on the market, other heads that cost a lot more money, you got a lot better value, and in a lot of cases a lot better head with this Wasp Drone, at least with this test. So we're going to move on to the concrete block now and try to find out if there's a fail point in this thing. Alright, concrete block time. And what this test really shows us is where the fail point is, if there's a fail point in the broadhead. Obviously we're not going to shoot anything in a hunting situation, you know, nearly as thick or as hard as a concrete block. You know, we've had them bounce off and been looking for pieces in the past. Sometimes they'll stick in, but mainly we just want to see where that weak point is, and this is how we find out. So I'm going to send this Wasp Drone down there and see what happens. Well, it made impact in a big way. Something went flying. I don't know if it was pieces of broadhead or pieces of concrete, but let's go find out. Well, something went flying and something broke. It wasn't the Wasp broadhead. It was my arrow. Arrow snapped in half. Broadhead is deeply lodged in concrete. Like I said, this test shows us where the fail point is. Well, the fail point went all the way back to the arrow. Alright, I've been wiggling and pulling for all I'm worth, trying to get that drone out of the cement block, and it will not come. So I think that broadhead is going to spend the rest of its days lodged in this cement block. But like I said, when it comes down to it, this test is about durability, and there isn't a thing wrong with that broadhead. You know, it didn't break. You know, a lot of times we'll have them snap off at the tip, or snap off, you know, at the back of the ferrule. You'll actually sometimes have blades come ripping back or fly right off or snap off, and that broadhead is in perfectly intact and lodged pretty deep into that cement block. So that's a really impressive pass with flying colors on this test.